I have all these reptile enclosures. They're roughly 16 feet by 8 feet by about 7 feet high. And the idea is that this path is going to go down 3/4 of a mile. And about every 100 feet, so 3/4 of a mile, it's like 3,000 square feet. So I don't know, maybe someday we'll have 30 of these. Just like you guys, just like you guys.
Yeah.
And then you just go from enclosure to enclosure.
I wish we had the property and everything to sprinkle the interesting animals throughout the property. This is way more interesting than what we're doing. I think that our setup is, I mean, I love it. It's what we have. It's the land we had to work with, but it's very sterile in comparison. This is amazing.
What I wanted to do is I wanted to get in a bunch of animals that people don't see all the time. You know, so we got lace monitors, we got caiman lizards, you know, we got crocodile monitors, and I'm trying to make an experience. We'll take a tour of people around with us. We'll give them chances to interact with all the animals. Some of them they can feed themselves. Some of them they can watch us feed them. If it's a little more dangerous, like the croc monitor. Hopefully people will love it. They'll have a good time here. I understand you got a gigantic bass here. I'd even love to have like fishing here. But I wouldn't even mind doing even like a little petting zoo or something. We don't have to do everything overnight. But if we had something for everyone, someone likes the lizards, someone would like a little bunny rabbit, someone would like to go fishing,
Sure.
someone would like, maybe we could do picnic tables that have a picnic lunch or whatever. Try to offer a lot of things to a lot of different people.
It sounds awesome. It really does.
And I never thought I would love these guys so much. I never thought I'd love them so much.
Oh, they're cool.
Yeah, they're so cool.
Yeah, his head is very bright.
Do they color up and down?
So I haven't noticed too much of that. I'll probably, if they do, notice that more so when we get into fall and winter. They seem to pretty much stay these colors right now. It's just hot and humid every day, but.
So when I say that, like, I don't notice that water monitors color up and color down.
Gotcha.
But the black throats certainly do.
Oh, absolutely.
They have darker days and lighter days.
Absolutely.
So they change. Obviously, the iguanas.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
all of them.
The
And
iguanas are big on changing.
Crocodiles too. Like you'll notice it with the crocodiles more so in the winter. When they're trying to soak in some of our Cubans that at the zoo I was working at, you know, on a very hot day, they're gold and yellow. And then on a cold winter day, it's the same exact crocodile. It's almost jet black.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because they just try to pull all that heat in by darkening up. So I wonder if they'll kind of do the same thing as the season changes, but I'm really not sure. They pretty much look the same since we've got them.
Anyone producing them in captivity?
You know, sometimes people will post captive born and bred on things like the Morph Market or stuff like that. So who knows not that I really dig into it and look to see if it's the truth or not, but sure. I have seen them posted as captive born and bred U.S. animals. You know, the accuracy of it is beyond me.
Well, we should look into that. I would feel better about them if they were captive produced because I think their parasite load and they're definitely a sensitive lizard that will go off food for a period, and with a new enclosure or a new owner.
Yeah.
And if they already have a parasite load, that's when that becomes a problem.
Exactly. Yeah.
Lizards that fire off and eat right away that are imports, less of a problem because
they don't go through those stress levels and then
clearing that parasite load. And I mean, all wild animals have a parasite load. We have a parasite load.
Yeah.
As long as you're passing it, it's not a problem.
But I think there's such a need in the hobby for captive bred caiman lizards. I think all these come from farms in Peru, and I think most of them are grown for hides. So they're not being collected from the wild. So if we could get them, and I hope it's not true. Someone once told me like 90% of them that are imported die.
Yes.
But Andrew's very good with them. So if you could do captive bred, it'd be great, but even if you could get them introduced, a lot of people said these are some of their favorite animals. They're
I agree.
Super chill. I think it'd be such an asset to the industry. We can't grow everything, but if you're gonna be a specialist at something, wouldn't caiman lizards be really cool?
Absolutely. And if anyone, any one of the viewers knows who is captively breeding them in the U.S., please leave that as a comment so we can learn. I don't know of anyone, but I'm sure somebody is. looking at your young male black dragon, and it is a male, right? Assumed male?
Yes.
I can vaguely, just barely see at the edge of his stomach the disappearing pattern. And I know a lot of people, when they get black dragon babies or someone produces black dragon babies, some are just beautifully black, no question about it. And some have some ghost patterning. And I know when people purchase, they're reluctant about what that pattern is going to do later in life. And this is a perfect example. The ghost pattern goes away. It is 95% gone right now in this animal, and it will totally go away. You'll never notice it. It's just vaguely there on the base of his tail and at the edge of his stomach, but it will be gone.
Yeah, that's cool. That's like black pine snakes. Black pine snakes born with so much pattern, white bellies. Some have blotches, bands. People are like, is this really a black pine snake? You know, a year and a half in, the animal has this exact color, no pattern left.
Just some food for thought. Just because it's something that we go through every winter, I'm really excited to see all the plants that you guys are gonna like throw in here. But if there are so many that when you come out during cold times to find the animal and there's like all this undergrowth and brush for it to hide under, it is scary when we're doing the walkthrough at night, when it's like, oh gosh, we have to look through all this stuff to find where the animal's hidden.
Yeah.
If you put too much like low stuff, that gives that animal an opportunity to hide. I like the stuff that like grows kind of tall and then bushes out, because it creates like that beautiful pop of color, that luscious
that's
look.
what I want. I just want the pop of color.
Yeah.
You know, I know they're not going to use it for food, and they may use it for shelter, like you said, if you do certain plants, but I just want that color to pop. They have the space, and you know, once we get those cool water features made and some nice plants in there, like this thing, my first thought was like, because it's right in your face, this big log, and he has all those cool air plants, they just kind of scatter a few on it.
So another thing I'll add about my experience of adding plants is do it slowly, because each individual lizard, you'll have one that doesn't touch any of their plants,
doesn't care,
walks around every one of the plants, and then you'll have your bulldozers.
Do you notice that more per species or individual?
Individuals.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alexander, our most lovable water monitor, destroys his plants. Every single one you put in, doesn't matter the species, doesn't matter how big or small. He's like, oh, let me look at this thing, and then just
digs up the entire root system for no reason.
Yeah.
It'll take some trial and error, Tom, to get some plants in there. Maybe we'll start with some that you're willing to sacrifice in case they don't make it.
I smell the bass on your hands.
She smells it. She really does.
They're very sensitive to that kind of thing. You try and wash it off, and it's still there.
She's a sweetheart, though. Like, we go in there and tongue feed her and chill with her. She'll crawl through our lap and hang out. You know, she is a sweetheart. But yeah, she smells that fish on you. It's just a little different. I chopped this thing down to a nub with a circular saw because it was in my way, and I kind of butchered it. And Tom was like, "Oh, you should have cut it in a certain way," and I was like, "Dang it." But it's starting to grow in nice. It adds, and that's the other thing I want to add to each exhibit: a heat shift, a stucco water pond pool, and plants. And I know a plant guy, but you got to pick what you like for the exhibits.
So I do the twiddling, as you call it. I do that to gauge their interest in interaction.
I say she's pretty interested.
Because a monitor, because a monitor will first see that movement and think, oh, that might be food. And they'll come in to investigate farther. But you slow that down once you kind of get their interest. And then that's when you can get their intelligence to turn on and think, oh, this isn't just food, this is an interaction. But that's how I always get them interested at first.
So normally when I go in there, I just kind of sit on the floor and hang out. I don't even look at her. I'll just sit on the floor for a couple minutes, get on my phone for a couple minutes, and then she just kind of is like, what are you doing in here? And then she'll make her way down and crawl over my legs, crawl through my lap. And then after about being in here for like 8 or 9, 10 minutes, then I'll pull the food out and she'll literally just walk over so calm, eat it, chew it up, and throw it down the hatch.
Smelled the food on my hand and was just, that's all she could smell.
Yeah.
This guy, smelling my hand, using his brain to know, okay, that's just the smell of food.
Yeah.
That's not actually food.
So apparently this monitor was raised in someone's bedroom and slept in their bed and ate from their hands and all these other things. Croc monitors have so much range of personality. I've seen them where they do nothing but run from you. I've seen them where they want to chase you at the door, and he sees the tongs waving.
Yeah.
And I've seen them where they catch on to training really, really well. So we want to keep them exercised. We'll give them a little up the tree, around the back, up the top. Just so agile. Sometimes he'll like go for a lunge and he'll miss or something, and he'll hang on to the tree, his whole body weight with his one back leg.
Oh,
And pull himself back up.
that's awesome.
It's like really incredible.
Have you
to
seen
see.
him use his tail prehensily
Oh
where
yeah.
he wraps it?
Me and
stuff?
KJ, we've had a lot going on the last few weeks here, project-wise, and just prepping for permits and a lot of essential animal stuff. But this is high on our list to perch next. We threw this in here day one to make sure he had something to climb on when we unboxed him. But this is one that we want to go a little extravagant with.
If Tyler were here, he'd be like, all right, now that's a such and such croc monitor. Meroki.
I don't know all the localities in that. I have a buddy, Daniel, who's super into all that.
I'm
Yeah.
only repeating what Tyler said
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
when he saw Tom's picture.
Yeah, he's super cool. You could tell, like,
He's checking out the camera.
he's always thinking,
Yeah, I've watched his brain click a couple times.
Right. Yeah, I had a buddy who got bit by a little, like, 2-foot croc monitor, and it was an accidental bite. He had the whole thing recorded too, and he was feeding with these little tiny tongs. This little croc monitor lunged at the piece of food, missed. It looked just like this. That was it, and it looked like you took a 3-inch knife and just stuck it all the way in his hand. He had to go get stitched up and cleaned up and all that, and it was a very small croc monitor, so one this size, And the fact that this guy was kept indoors, his nails are so gnarly. Like when we get him perched up and he's, out here for a little longer and his nails aren't as unbearable, I do want to let him start crawling on me and stuff, but I'm in no rush to do that when they're that sharp right now.
He needs, the concrete water tub that you're talking about building will help that.
Yeah.
Or some other climbing rock will help take the tips off the nails.
Yeah.
That's cool. Man, he works core.
What's funny is that motor oil, yes, you hear me talking, that motor oil green on his face is similar to what the lace has. Mm-hmm. That same coloring on his snoot. A little less vivid, but still.
All those lizards that we got, I'd say the black dragon and him came in a little lean, but like those lace monitors and stuff, they came in pretty healthy, pretty big looking. So this is one where we usually feed him till he's full, and he's gained a lot of weight. I mean, he still looks like a lean lizard, but you could even say when we unboxed him that he was pretty skinny. Mm-hmm. So cool. Those raptor claws, I mean.
I think
and they're just all tail.
Yeah.
The reptile community scares people into feeding their animals enough sometimes because there's so much talk about overfeeding.
Right.
And the wrinkle along the side. Absolutely. When your animal is ready for food, there should be a wrinkle along the side. You need to see it sometimes, but sometimes it can go away.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Especially like right after a meal, you're not always going to see that.
The base of the tail is the best indicator, and that looks 100% perfect. I feel like anybody who keeps a bunch of monitors or a bunch of reptiles should have a black throat, because what do you do with the wasted food?
That right there, that garbage disposal.
You can see where it goes.
any slugs other animals lay, like any wasted eggs or any wasted food or anything is not wasted.
And their stomachs are a little tougher than an Asian water monitor. So if a prey item's a day old or a couple days old and a little stinky,
They like
no
it.
problem. They love it.
KJ thought us a nice little salad.
Oh, look at him. He already knows. He's like, red bucket, I got you.
Sometimes he's really curious too, like no food. We just come in here to do, like the other day, KJ came in here to do the water and he climbed up his leg and was just tongue flicking him and right up to his face. It's so funny when they're sitting stretched out, his belly looks like, oh my God, he's fat. But then you see him actually stand up and walk around and he is not fat. He just...
Oh, they puff out their stomachs with air.
Yeah.
Hey, big man.
Yeah, you could even fill in a little bit.
Yeah.
You could eat some bigger meals and fill in just a little bit there.
Yeah, we're feeding him right now about twice a week.
Which is great. Which is great for an animal kept outdoors. I think eats less than something with perfect 8 hours of heat.
Right, right.
Because we have cloudy days and
Can we hold hands?
cooler days,
We can.
overcast days, things
We
like
can
that.
hold hands.
Yeah, a lot of rainy days here.
Yeah, this time of year.
Keegan, are you able to read the animal to know that that's not too dangerous?
Oh, he's fine. Blackthroats are big bluffers, and they're not known to bite. He's already shown that he's very gentle, willing to just walk up, and he's gonna get my shirt a little dirty.
Yeah, the most he'll do is throw his tail at you. And it's like a half effort. Sometimes he aims it just right and he'll nut tap you. And yeah, it doesn't feel
Well, if
good.
you're working on something in the enclosure and
Yeah.
you put yourself in that range,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
that can definitely happen.
He's a good boy.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
What's his name?
We don't have a name for him.
No name yet.
We really don't have names for anything.
That's how
No.
you get. That's how you get an audience to really love an
Yeah,
animal,
to
though.
get people drawn to him, you know,
Yeah.
bonded to him.
I know that's gonna come straight into my mouth if I just sit here. Oh, there we go.
Like after me and KJ are off for 3 days, the feeding response is like the female's Bell's lace was
Yeah.
up at the cage, you know? But after only like a day or two, he's like, I could go for a couple pieces.
Yeah, I guess I'll take a snack.
It's funny because the blackthroat that I worked with at the zoo for a little while, that thing, you could feed it every single day and it would never stop. Whereas this one's more like, I'll eat 2, maybe 3 times a week. And if you offer more than that, I'm going to turn my head to you.
That's funny.
I've had them like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like they don't go for every single offering. When you do twice a week, they do, but more than that, sometimes he'll just be like, no, I'll turn my head, especially on an overcast day.
Oh yeah. Temperature, the amount the sun is shining, that's all going to affect their food drive.
Yeah.
Because that depends on how much their last meal has digested, you know?
Yep.
He's beautiful.
I would every once in a while give him a big meal, whether it be 20 some odd eggs or 30 eggs or something, because
We need
I
a
know
chicken farm here.
I know a lot of animals in captivity we should feed them sparingly because we don't want them to be obese or anything. But I think a blackthroat in the wild is a feast or famine lizard, and he's
Yeah.
going to walk around and look for that big cache of food, whether it's a leftover kill from another animal or a nest of crocodile eggs or other animal eggs. And he's not going to eat 2 eggs and walk away. He's going to eat
Until there's nothing left.
he's going to eat until he's stuffed. I think it's part of their natural
Yeah.
Yeah.
behavior.
For as careful as our big male blackthroat is about eating eggs, he'll be so gentle with it in his mouth, it'll crack, spill all over the ground, and then he spends 10 minutes getting every drop out of the dirt, including all the dirt. So it's just like he gets a little grass salad, he gets a little roughage in his
A little
tummy.
bit of everything. He's your big boy.
Look at you.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about them firing up and down. Like today, he's got super light colors compared to some days when we see him.
So good news on blackthroats. We dug up a clutch of eggs yesterday.
That's really cool.
17 eggs, but only 3 good.
That's still a win. That's still a win. That's exciting. Let's go see him.
Yep, let's do it.
A little massage.
We're here at Lukas Nursery and we're going to go take a look at the butterfly and bird encounter. This is something I may want to do in a Apopka. I think there's 4 greenhouses here. They're 20 feet wide and I think they're about 50 feet long. So that's like what, 4,000 square feet? And we have to have a water feature. This is a really cool water feature here. And of course, we need a pond in our butterfly garden. And our pond will be filled with giant Amazon catfish and arowanas. I recognize most of these plants. It's a really cool stream. They got Jatropha. They got some of the Tradescanthia that I have. They got some of the mosses I have. A white begonia, giant maidenhair fern, macho fern. See, they got jackfruit here, which is just borderline hardy here. This is something that's not hardy here at all, and this is the cocoa plant. I went to the Naples Botanical Garden and I saw it down there, and they were all excited they got a piece of fruit. So this is positively heated in the wintertime, which makes sense because then they could get revenue in the wintertime too. I would probably want to do something that's a little more exotic looking, maybe incorporate some of my rare palm trees. They got a fountain here using a Lysimachia, a creeping jenny, some pothos growing out of the fountain, some cat whiskers, some cordylines. It's kind of a neat place, these beautiful paths. I would have to get my place a little bit cleaner, but I could do a lot of this. They got some doves, they got some pigeons, and I think the butterflies here are mostly, or maybe I think they're all native butterflies, but I think if you have exotic butterflies, there's special permitting and special regulations. If they escape, you're in a lot of trouble. So I think they're just working with the native butterflies here. But this place is pretty cool. They have classical music playing in here, and I see they got a lot of trellises. And this is a Thunbergia vine. It gets some blue flowers in the wintertime. And I can see kind of what they're trying to do here. I think I could do this myself. This is a garden center, so I think it's a little bit of an idea garden with some butterflies and some doves flying around. Here, I noticed the use of all the pottery, and this is really cool because I got a ton of used pottery at Holt Nurseries. You see, they didn't really make it to look like a jungle. It's kind of more formal, like something you can do in your yard using the pots. They got some blue pots here, some brown pots over here, and then they have this meandering pathway. And I could not only do this in my butterfly garden, but I also could do this in the fish room as well. So this is a no-touch garden, except for this little room, where you dip your finger into a jar of nectar, then you encourage the butterfly to walk onto your fingers. The butterflies actually taste with their feet, so you just take your finger, touch it to their feet, they walk onto your hand, they drink the nectar, and then you gently put them back on their host plant. I am excited about building my own butterfly garden because this garden was constantly filled with visitors and school groups. They also had this beautiful monarch butterfly bench, some other tropical plants, and other butterfly displays to make this garden into a whimsical paradise. Outside the greenhouse, they had many butterfly plants for sale, where they encourage you to start your own butterfly garden. And you know what? No garden center will be complete without selling Holt Nursery's water lilies and beautiful display ponds. You see, guys, $1,500. So when I say these palms are $1,000 a piece or $2,000 a piece, I know what I'm talking about. $229 for an Australian tree fern. So that's not that bad a price. But you get a free bag of soil. But I have, I don't know, I got 50 or 60 of these. These actually look a little bit better than mine. So I got a little bit of work to do. We will see you next week, and don't forget to like and subscribe.